Mature Eyeshadow Masterclass. As a professional makeup artist, I'm about to change the way you apply your eyeshadow forever. So on this eye, we're going to do a natural look, and on this eye, we're going to do a smoky look. The first thing I'm going to teach you to do is apply your chosen lip colour first of all. So you might be thinking, why is she telling me about lipstick when this is an eyeshadow tutorial? Well, the shade you apply to your lips has a lot to do with helping you gauge how much eyeshadow you should be applying. For example, if you want to wear quite a natural lip colour, you will know that you can apply more intensity to your shadow. And the reason being for this is because on our face, we need to decide what's going to be centre stage, our lips or our eyes. So this is more of a lip serum and also doubles up as a lovely lip and cheek all-in-one complexion makeover. The palette we're using today is this very natural look palette. So it has a mixture of metallics and it also has a mixture of mattes. And I'm going to show you where and how to apply both types of shadow finishes. So this is a great palette if you're not very confident with makeup and you want your shadow to just make the most of your eyes but without looking like you've got lots of makeup on. We're also going to use a fluffy eyeshadow brush like this. This eyeshadow brush makes applying eyeshadow really easy because it's not very dense. So for example, if we were to use a more denser eyeshadow brush like this one, where the bristles are more closely packed, this is going to pick up a lot more eyeshadow and make the eyeshadow look more intense. So for the sake of this tutorial where we want our eyeshadow to be effortless looking, we're using an eyeshadow brush that's very easy to blend with. It doesn't pick up too much product, which means that if you're new to applying eyeshadow, you can't go too far wrong with this. We're also going to be using microfiber cloths because I'm going to assume that you don't have loads of eyeshadow brushes, and a microfiber cloth is amazing for when you go from one colour to the next without mixing the colours up and getting a dirty brush. You simply always dust off your eyeshadow brush before you go into another colour and when you go to blend, because assuming you only have like one or two brushes, you don't want to be blending with the same makeup brush, because all that means is you're going to take what's already on your eyeshadow brushes and blend that all around. So you want to always blend with clean brushes. So microfiber cloths are amazing for people that don't own a lot of brushes but need to reuse the same one. We're also going to be using translucent powder because this is amazing for correcting any mistakes, and it's also great before you apply your eyeshadow for soaking up any excess oil from your natural skin or from any foundation. Plus, by applying a little of this on your eyelid first of all and up to your brow bone, it's going to help the eyeshadow blend much more easier. And that's the same for any palette you use because it creates a good amount of slippage for the brush to blend onto. So let's just go ahead and do that now. So you'll notice I pick up product and then I tap off. You can see how much is coming off, because we want to actually apply a little and build up in layers, because if you're underconfident with applying eyeshadow, we don't want to go onto our eye with too much eyeshadow to start with. Take some tissue, apply it just under our eye, and just sweep on the translucent powder. And the reason I'm putting the tissue here is because I don't want the powder to fall under my eye. Now, with translucent powder, it's the particles are very fine, so they're going to go everywhere. So that's why having a tissue underneath really helps. Once we go to the eyeshadow, you won't need this under your eye. Let's do the other eye. Tap off. And then I'm going to take my microfiber cloth to clean my brush. So we're ready to start. I'm going to do a natural look on this one and a smoky eye look on this eye. So another good brush to invest in is either a tiny brush like this or a brush with a slant here. Okay, both will work really well. I'm actually going to use this brush here, and I'm going to use this to take any darker shade in this palette into being a liner. And to do that, I've got some water. I'm going to dampen my brush just on the bristles, and then you're going to pick up some shadow. Now, don't worry about getting your shadows wet. Just let them dry after before putting the lid back on, and it will be great to use the next time you go to use it. Now, the formula we're going to use is always choosing a really dark shade by your lash line, and this is going to help your lashes look fuller. So I'm going to take my pinky finger, and this is going to act as my stabilizer, and I'm going to just dab this colour in little strokes as close to the root of my lashes as possible along my lash line. And this is just a lovely way to use your eyeshadow. It creates a really soft look to your eyes, and it's an alternative to an eyeliner. Now, don't worry if your line isn't perfect, because you can take a dry Q-tip and then you can just run this along the top of the line before the shadow dries, and it will just smooth out any jagged lines and make your line look perfect. Okay, can you see it's just made my lashes look a little bit fuller before we've even reached for mascara. So to do that line on this palette, I could have used this colour, or this colour, because this will actually look quite nice when it's dark, because when something goes wet, it's going to go darker. So the next thing we're going to do is create an eye lift with our shadow. So I want to choose a mid-tone colour. So we've used the darkest colour here. Now we're going to go for a mid-tone shadow. So I could use this one, or this one. For the sake of this look, I'm going to choose this shadow here. It doesn't look very exciting, but the mid-tone colour is really, its purpose is to look like it's part of your skin and create the look of shadow, which in turn is going to help lift our eye. So we're going to take our fluffy eyeshadow brush, and we're going to coat the brush. Now, if you had darker skin tone than me, you might want to go for this colour or this colour. But we're looking for a colour that looks like a natural shadow on our skin. We're going to tap off, and then we're going to feel where our socket is. So it's just above the soft part of our eyeball here. We're going to place the brush in the middle, and then we're going to go backwards and forwards. But we want to leave this part, this is our brow bone here. We want to leave this free of eyeshadow at the moment. Okay, so we're going to put the mid-tone here. Going to go backwards and forwards, and you can decide how much you want to apply. When you're going backwards and forwards with your brush, you want to make sure that you stop just in line with the corner of your eye and your eyebrow. And that's because if you take this too far down, it's going to make your eyes look slightly sad. We want our eyes to look up and lifted. So we're just going to stop about here. Can you see I'm stopping? I'm not taking this down here. I'm stopping there. So backwards and forwards. Very natural. I'm actually going to add a little bit more on. Do you remember at the start of this tutorial I was saying, you know, start off with a little eyeshadow and then build up. So pinky finger, middle of the socket, and go backwards and forwards. If your eye is hooded and you're wanting to create an optical illusion that that hood retracts back and your eye looks more lifted, then let's say your hood is like this. You're going to take your mid-tone, and you're actually, when you go through your socket line, you're going to cover that hood. You're not going to lift it. You're going to keep the eye as it naturally falls, and you're going to go over it like this. And that will create an optical illusion of the hooded eye looking less hooded, and in turn your eye will look more lifted. And to further enhance that, we're now going to take the lightest shade in this palette, which is this shade here, and we're going to apply that just under our brow here and a little bit on the inner corner of our eye here. So I'm going to take a brush such as this one, not as fluffy, but it's a little bit smaller, because this isn't as fluffy, it will pick up more shadow. Dab off on the back of my hand, and I will just dab this under my brow. Very natural looking. Now, with a clean finger, you can delicately blend, or you can take your fluffy brush, clean it off on a microfiber cloth, and then just delicately blend it by going backwards and forwards and in little circular motions. And this is now making the eyeshadow look incredibly natural. Let's add a little bit of lightness to the inner corner of our eye. Here. Just dab to blend. So this is looking very, very natural. Now I want to make my eyes glisten. So to do that, I'm going to take my pinky finger. I'm going to take this beautiful shade here that when the light catches it, just looks stunning. And I'm going to add this above where I've applied my line, just in the middle of my eyelid. I'm going to dab that just in the center of my lower lid. Hopefully you can see that already it's just making my eyes look just natural but dazzly. Before I go to show you how to make this eye smoky, I'm going to just run through that. So we've used the darker shade by the lash line, we've used a mid-tone, any of the mid-tones in the socket, and then we've used the lightest shade on the brow bone here and on the inner corner, and then we've used a sparkly dazzling shade just in the middle of the lower lid here. Because this is quite a natural look, I'm going to continue the theme and use a very natural looking brown mascara. This one is a brown smudge proof mascara, and it looks incredibly natural when it's on the eye. So my top tip for applying mascara is to simply hold it at the base of your lashes as near to the roots as possible and blink onto the wand. So you're not really moving the wand, you're moving your eyelashes and blinking onto the wand. This works really well for just a quick and easy way of applying your mascara. I always move the wand to be vertical to coat the inner corners and the outer corners. Because this is a smudge proof mascara, I can wear it on the lower lashes without worrying that I'm going to get panda eyes. So you can see, very natural looking, very easy. I'm now going to show you how we can use this palette to create a beautiful yet natural looking smoky eye. So let's start off by lining our lash line with eyeshadow. So we're going to take this brush, we're going to dampen it, and this time we're actually going to use this colour here. This is going to be our lining colour. This looks stunning on a smoky eye. And then we're going to use our pinky finger as our stabiliser. You can either hold your finger like this, or if your nail is long so it doesn't create a mark on your skin, you can hold it to the side like this. And then we're just going to create little dabby motions. So you don't have to worry about creating a really straight line, because when you do little dabby motions near to your lash line, you will get the colour payoff without having to worry about getting a perfectly straight line. We're going to create a little bit more colour right on the corner, and then we're going to take our pinky finger with our nail very gently, just the side of our nail, we're just going to wing this shadow up towards the end of our brow in that angle here. This will create a lovely template of a wing. And then to enhance that, we're going to dip our brush in the water, flick off any excess water, take a little bit more shadow, and then because we've got our template, we can now follow our template with our brush. Now take your mid-tone shadow and apply it into your socket with a backwards and forward motion with your brush as if you were painting a rainbow. Any area that you feel has gone too far down your eye, you can take a Q-tip and you can just neaten up. And then if you're really struggling, you can just apply a little micellar water to your Q-tip, wipe it up like this to clean, and then reapply any foundation. So now we're going to enhance our brow bone, the inner corner of our eye, and we're going to further intensify the smoky look. So let's take a little brush like this, put it into the lightest shade, and we're just going to pat this under our brow bone. And this is going to make this shadow look a little bit more intense because the contrast is going to increase between the light and the shade. Can you see? It's just making more of my brow bone. Look how lovely that looks. It looks really, it's a very natural look smoky eye. We're going to take a little bit of this colour, tap off. We're going to apply it just on the inner corner around our tear duct here. Give it a little blend with your finger. Are we done, or do we want to make it look more smoky? And this is a really good time if you're a bit unsure about your eyeshadow in the sense of, do I need more at this point? I would say before you apply more, apply your mascara and then take a view of it. So again, I'm applying a brown mascara because I think this will look really lovely with the natural smoky look that we've created. So I really love how natural this smoky eye looks, but we're going to intensify it. I want to show you what more you can do. So now let's take our very thin brush and we're going to, it's dry now, so we're going to add this beautiful metallic shade, tap off, and we're just going to apply it along our lower lash line on the outer corner, just to really make it look very pretty and smoky. And then we can just blend it with our ring finger. I might just now take it around the corner on the upper lash line. So we've almost created a much more of a hazy but darker corner to the eye. Can you see? Very natural, but gives a very kind of soft, diffused look. Now I always finish with a Q-tip, just cleaning up any shadow that's fallen down. And then I will just put a little bit of my foundation under my eyes. Let's top up my lipstick. Add a little bit more to my cheeks now, because I think I can probably take a little bit more on my cheeks. And there you have a really pretty two options of eyes. Natural, perhaps lunch with your girlfriends, and then, I don't know, this would look lovely on an evening out, a wedding, even bridal. Really, really pretty. If you're underconfident with eyeshadow, I think this palette makes eyeshadow application very easy because you know that all these colours are going to work together. Regardless if you want to do a natural look or more of a smoky look, it always will look very natural, even the smoky eye look. Which one do you prefer? Lunch with a girlfriend's look or smoky look? I'm going to go Team Smoky. I love this look. It's something really different. It's a different take on smoky eyes, and I think it looks really soft and pretty. Let me know what you prefer, and see you soon in another video. Bye.